What's up, everybody? As I mentioned in the last video, I wanted to talk about how physical the game is getting, or if I think that it's not as physical as it used to be. I actually have the Warriors game on here in the background. They're playing the Grizzlies right now, and the Warriors are up at home, and I'm just really looking forward to watching this game. But like I said, I just want to talk about how physical this game is. I actually, as I mentioned in previous videos, I talk a lot about basketball at work, and one of the guys I work with, my buddy Duran, he talks about how physical football is, and he says how much these NBA players now aren't nearly as tough as football players, and I guess I can agree with that. But to say that it's not a tough game, you just don't pay attention. Granted, there's a lot of flopping, and I talked about that one before too, and stupid stuff like that. These guys are always getting hacked and getting hit and driving to the lane, and it's just body on body and just smashing into each other. And I think the game is really physical. I don't necessarily think it's physical to the point where it was back in like the 90s and stuff like that, when like Jordan and those guys were playing. I think those guys were real rough, real tough. Like you think of Bill Laimbeer and guys like that, guys like Dennis Rodman. For some reason, he pops into my mind. Just guys that really played tough, and they wanted to scare you. They wanted to get in your face, and they wanted to let you know that they were there and that was their house and you can't get in there. And another thing I wanted to touch on is I left myself a note here on my phone. I wanted to talk about friendships and rivalries in the NBA, because it seems like, I wonder if, because there's so many friendships now, if the game's not as physical because of that. You look back and you look at guys like Larry Bird, he would just straight fist fight somebody on the court if he needed to. He was a tough guy, a real tough guy. And then but you saw him eventually become Magic Johnson's friend and so on and so forth. And you look at the NBA now, guys like LeBron are best friends with Carmelo Anthony, best friends with Chris Paul, and I mean they do stuff together, they hang out outside of basketball, and it makes you wonder if they're less physical with the other teams because of this union and these friendships that they have. I think it's cool if you were a basketball player and to hang out with other basketball players and whatnot, but just as a fan, I almost don't like to see that. I like to see bitter rivalries. I grew up, and here's a good example. I grew up as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and I absolutely hated the Browns. I still hate the Cleveland Browns. I hate that team. I hate them. And I want them to lose every game that they play. Even though I lived in Cleveland for a while and I'm a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, I do not like the Browns. And it's just, to me, that's a big rivalry. And also, growing up in Ohio, everybody's Ohio State fans. Same thing with Michigan. I hate Michigan. I hate the Michigan Wolverines, and I want them to lose every game. Like, I love those rivalries. I love having those teams to hate. I love to hate those teams. And when it comes to my Cavaliers, I hate teams like Chicago. I hate teams like the Wizards. Even though I hated the Wizards back when like Gilbert Arenas was playing for them, because they played in the playoffs every year. Teams like Boston, I can't stand. A lot of teams in the East, I just hate them. And I like that rivalry. I like seeing, when Cleveland was going up against Miami after LeBron left for Miami, even though the Heat would just dominate all those games, I like seeing that intensity. I like seeing the crowd get into it. I like seeing that stuff, because that's how I feel it should be. I just know how my loyalty is. I don't want to look at other teams. I want to be loyal to the team I'm on. Now, I know a lot of that loyalty and stuff comes down to contracts and how much you're getting paid, and there's so many more factors that go into it. But I don't know, I really enjoy seeing just good physical basketball, and just watching these games here, especially with the playoffs. I mean, these guys right now, they're playing so hard, they're playing so tough, but it makes me wonder if this guy's friends with this guy, are they going to be a little bit more lenient on the basketball court? I can't say I could see that happening, but you never know. I almost hate seeing those friendships. I understand that social media and just being more aware of all kinds of stuff, in today's age, you're able to be in contact with these players on the West Coast and all around these different cities. But sometimes I wonder if it's detrimental to the game, because I just enjoy seeing the rivalries. I want to see these teams battle. When I turn on the game, man, I want to see a battle. I don't want to see people injured. I don't like injuries. I don't want to see people getting necessarily thrown around and punched and whatnot, but I'd like to see two big guys just banging on each other and trying to dunk on each other, and I like to see the little bit of trash talk, and I like seeing that stuff because I like seeing people take pride in the city that they're playing for and the teams they're playing for. And I like it when teams gel, especially in the playoffs. A lot of these teams get along really well. You know, just like the Warriors here, there's just so much chemistry, and even Memphis. That's a team that I think gets, at least for me, it's a team that gets overshadowed a lot, and they're a really good team. I don't necessarily think that a lot of people think of them when they think of the best teams in the league, but they are a great team. They have been for the last couple of seasons. So I don't know. I just like seeing all the chemistry, and I like these teams coming together and defending their own. I like seeing that physicality of the game, and I hope that, you know, as a player, these guys, they don't go a little bit soft just because they're friends with people on the other team. I'd love to see them still battle. I'd love to see them go to war with each other and just keep that spirit alive in this game, because, you know, it used to be a real physical game, and there's so many fouls being called these days that it's hard to get it. You can't get away with anything. You can't do anything. So, and like I said, I don't want to see anybody injured, but it's just something to keep in mind. You know, do we take away the physicality of the sport? You know, and I just don't know if that's a good thing. I want to see those rivalries. I want to see these teams go at it, and I want to see a very, very competitive game. And I think as competitive as we can make these games, the more fans will get onto the NBA. So with that being said, thanks for tuning in. Subscribe if you like the video, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.